Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a TG deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this for you guys because this deck just got some amazing support out of Age of Overlord, taking this deck to a whole new level. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notice to become part of Notification Squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Like getting your name description for every single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your patron. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Rocket Salamander. This card is one of the best cards in the entire deck. It has the ability that you can tribute a TG monster to special summon a TG monster from your deck with a different original name than the tributed monsters, which is an insane ability about this card because it's basically an in-archetype Lone Fire Blossom that special summons out other TG monsters, which is so cool. It also has the ability, if you control a machine TG monster, then you can target a level 4 Lord TG monster in the graveyard and special summon it in defense position but negate its effects, which is such a cool ability about this card because we have cards like All Clear that's going to turn our monsters into machines. We then play 3 copies of Screw Serpent. Screw Serpent is an amazing 3-of in this build because it has the ability of its normal or special summon. You can target a level 4 Lord TG monster in the graveyard and special summon it, which is such a cool ability about this card to be able to basically use your copy of Rocket Salamander to be able to summon Screw Serpent and then special summon out your copy of Rocket Salamander off of Screw Serpent's ability. These cards go together so well and it's such a powerful combo in this deck. We then play 2 copies of Gear Zombie. Gear Zombie is really good as a 2-of in the deck because this card is just a great extender that lets you target a TG monster you control and special summon this card from your hand. Then the targeted monster loses 1,000 attack points, which is totally fine because you're usually just using it to synchro summon since this card is a tuner. We then play a single copy of Booster Raptor. Booster Raptor is also a great extender in the deck with a really cool ability. If you control a TG monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. And also once per turn, during the end phase, if this card's in the graveyard because it was destroyed on the field and sent to the graveyard this turn, you can add a TG monster from your deck to your hand, except another copy of this card, which is a pretty cool ability. We then play a single copy of Tank Grub. Tank Grub is a good 1-of in this build because this card is just a really cool extender as well. Is if this card you control is used as a synchro material for a TG monster, you can treat it as a non-tuner as well as a tuner, which is so cool to be able to basically use this card for the exact purpose that you need it. Also, if this card is sent to the graveyard as a synchro material for a TG monster, you can special summon a TG token to your side of the field that's a level 1 in attack position, so you can extend your plays and go for more synchro plays. We then play a single copy of TG Warwolf. Warwolf is just a good 1-of combo piece in this build because when a level 4 or lower monster is special summoned, you can special summon this card from your hand, which is just such a good effect about this card to get you a level 3 on the field so you can go in for some really awesome plays. We then also play a single copy of Drillfish. Drillfish is good as a 1-of, but you only need a single copy of Drillfish because this card can attack directly, which is a great ability about this card, and it also has the ability that when a TG monster you control inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can target a monster your opponent controls and destroy it, which is a great ability that basically just does 100 points of damage to your opponent and then pops a monster, which is so cool. I love that about this card, and it also has the ability of all monsters you control are TGs. You can special summon this card from your hand, which is a great ability just to extend your plays. We then play 3 copies of Diabellstar. Diabellstar is definitely a 3-of in the build because we can search it off our copy of Wanted and then get to our copy of the original Sinful Spool Snake Eye so we can get to our copy of Rocket Salamander. I love that about this card, plus it gives you a level 7 monster on your side of the field just to extend your plays, and it's so helpful in this deck. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom's a definite 3-of in the build just to stop your opponent from touching the deck, and it helps out overall in this build. We then play a single copy of Droll and Lockbird. We are playing Crossout Designator in the deck because this card does get hit by hand traps pretty hard, so this card is really good at basically just stopping our opponent from drolling us, and if we do draw into it, we can use it. We then also play a single copy of Nibiru. We are a very heavy synchro deck, so we're going to be synchro climbing into some crazy powerful cards, so this card is great to combo with your copy of Crossout Designator to make sure that you're not going to get hit with the Nibiru so you can keep going into your plays. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is really good as a 1-of in the deck, basically just to stop our opponent from hand trapping us while we're going in for all of our plays. We then play a single copy of 1 for 1. 1 for 1 is great in this deck as a 1-of to help us summon out our level 1 monsters. We then play 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talents. Triple Tactics Talents is really good to be able to use in the deck just in case a hand trap does go through or our opponent activates a monster effect. We're just basically going to let us draw 2 cards, take control of an opponent's monster, or look at our opponent's hand and shuffle a card back into the deck, which is really good just to draw into extenders with this card or get some knowledge of what our opponent has in their hand. We then play a single copy of the original Sinful Spool's Snake Eye. This card is great as a 1-of in the deck because it's so easy to get into this card with your copy of Diabellstar because it has the ability that you can send one of their face-up card you control to the graveyard to special summon out a level 1 fire monster from your hand or deck, which is such a cool ability to be able to use in this particular build combo with your copy of Rocket Salamander because it's a level 1, making it very easy to summon off of this card to instantly get it on your side of the field because you want to get to your copy of Rocket Salamander as quickly as possible because it's basically the starter of the deck. So this card is really good in this particular build to be able to use with your Snake Eye cards. I absolutely love this card in the deck. It also says you can banish this card from the graveyard and then target a Snake Eye or a Diabellstar monster in the grave and then add a level 1 fire monster from your deck to your hand, then place a targeted monster on the bottom of the deck, which is a pretty cool ability if you need to use it. We then play 3 copies of Wanted. Wanted's really good in this build because this card gets you to your copy of Diabellstar extremely easily because it lets you add a Diabellstar monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. And during your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard and target one of your Sinful Spool spells or traps that's banished or in your graveyard, and then place it on the bottom of the deck and then draw a card, which is a great ability to recycle your copy of the original Sinful Spools, which is so cool. I love that about this card because it helps you basically just recycle your copy of your card, so you only need a single copy of this. We then play 3 copies of Crossout Designator. Crossout Designator is really good basically to combo with your copy of Call by the Grave so you don't get hit with hand traps, and it's just a fantastic card overall in this particular build. We then play 2 copies of TG All Clear. All Clear is really good as a 2-0 because all TG monsters on the field become machine monsters, which combos really good in the deck. And also during your main phase, you can normal summon a TG monster in addition to your normal summoner set, which is such a cool ability. And during your main phase, you can destroy one TG monster in your hand or field, and if you do, add a TG monster with a different name from your deck or graveyard to your hand, which just gets you the exact card that you need, and this card is really handy in the deck. We then play 3 copies of TG Limiter Removal. This card is insane. This card reads like a custom card. It lets you discard a card to add 2 TG monsters with different names from your deck to your hand. This card is basically like Pendulum Call for the deck, which is just insane. And it also has a really cool ability. You can banish this card from the graveyard and then target a TG monster in your grave, shuffle it in the deck, and if you control a TG machine monster, then you can add it to your hand instead, which is such a crazy ability. This card is insane. This card does literally everything for the deck and is so important to be able to use unless you see your copy of Rocket Salamander, in which case you're basically green light and you're good to go with this deck. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Impermanence is really good, just basically use as a hand trap to stop your opponent's monster effects and also be able to use with Crossout Designator because we do want our monster effects to go through. We then also play a single copy of TG Close. TG Close is really cool in this deck because it's finally a counter trap for TG, which is just so cool, is when a spell or trap card or a monster effect is activated while you control a machine TG monster, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card, which is such a cool ability about this card. This deck finally has a counter trap. And if a Synchro monster is banished while this card is in your graveyard, you can set this card but banish when it leaves the field, giving you another use out of this card, which is just really, really good. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start off with a single copy of TG Glaive Blaster. This card is amazing. I absolutely love this card. It's our new main boss monster we're summoning, and it basically does require a tuner synchro monster plus 2 non-tuner synchro monsters to make this card, which is actually not that hard to be able to do in this deck, and it must be synchro summon. In quick effect, you can target a monster on the field and special summon from the extra deck and banish it, which is such a cool ability about this card, just to be able to banish a monster. It also has the ability that you can use this effect a number of times per turn, up to the number of non-tuner synchro monsters used for this card's synchro summon, which is really insane to be able to do, because basically you're going to be able to use this card effect at least twice, which is insane. It also has the ability once per turn. If a monster is banished face up, except during the damage step, then you can target one of them and special summon it to your field, ignoring its summoning conditions, which is a crazy powerful effects combo. This is an amazing card and just so easy to put on your side of the field. We can play a single copy of the Crimson Dragon. Who knew Bruno could summon this card? But hey, it works in the deck. It's really good because you can use it with your copy of TG Glaive Blaster, because they're both level 12, to be able to summon out a copy of Hot Red Dragon Archfiend King Calamity to essentially skip your opponent's turn, which is absolutely insane. These working together is just so cool. We then play a single copy of TG Blade Blaster. This card is a old school TG boss monster, but it's really good in this deck because when an opponent's spell or trap card is activated that targets this card, you can send a card from your hand to the grave to negate the effect, and once per opponent's turn, you can banish one TG monster from your graveyard to remove from play that face-up card on the field, which is such a cool ability about this card. And I love that about this effect, that once per opponent's turn, you can remove and play a TG monster from your graveyard to remove this face-up card from the field from play, basically dodging effects, which is just so cool. And during the next standby phase, a special summon this card if it was banished by this effect, which is such a cool ability. We then play a single copy of Baron. Baron's just really good. It's a walking negate, and it's one of the most powerful synchro monsters ever created. One copy of Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon. I figured this card was like really cool to be able to play in the deck, because it was actually Bruno that taught Yusei Excel Synchro Summoning, which is just really cool. I love that about this card, and it's amazing to be able to play it in the deck. I love that. It's just so cool, because it lets you synchro climb into other really powerful cards, and it's a great combo piece in the deck. We then play 2 copies of TG Over Dragnar. This card is crazy. This card is basically like walking soul charge for the deck. If this card is synchro summon, you can special summon any number of TG monsters from your graveyard in defense position. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except TG monsters, which is fine because it's basically just going to help us go for a bunch of different plays, which is insane to be able to synchro climb into some really powerful monsters. This is exactly what the deck needed. It's almost like a junk speeder, which is insane about this card. And it also has the ability, if this card on the field is destroyed, you draw a card, which is great. We then play a single copy of Hyper Librarian, because drawing cards I heard was pretty good, and this card is amazing in the deck, because every time you synchro summon, you get to draw a card, which is amazing. Play a single copy of Power Gladiator. We're just using this card for the level. It does do piercing damage, and if this card on the field is destroyed, you get to draw a card, which is pretty good, but it's still really good in the deck. Basically just uses a level 5 that's not a tuner. We play a single copy of Wonder Magician. Wonder Magician lets us synchro summon during the opponent's turn. Also, if it's synchro summon, you get to target a spell or trap on the field and destroy that target, which can come up every so often, which is really nice. That's why I'm playing one of this and one of the copy of the Star Guardian, but you can just play 2 copies of Star Guardian if you want to. We then play a single copy of Star Guardian. Again, you can play 2 copies of this card. This card is insane in the deck. It has the ability once per chain during your opponent's main phase. You can quick effect, immediate effect resolves. You get to synchro summon using this card you control, and if this card is special summoned, you get to target a TG monster in your grave and add it to your hand, and during your main phase, you can special summon a TG monster from the hand, which is a great ability about this card. We then play a single copy of Mighty Striker. Mighty Striker is great because this card is a level 2 tuner, basically replacing Formula Synchron in the deck, and it's really good because once per turn, during your opponent's main phase, you can quick effect immediate effect results, synchro summon using this card that you control, and it also has the ability, if this card is synchro summon, you get to add a TG spell or trap from your deck to your hand, and if this card is sent from the monster zone to the grave, you get to send a TG monster, or send a TG card from your deck to the grave, which is great to get the exact card you need in the grave. This card is amazing because it can search out limit removal, TG all clear, TG close, and get any of those cards that you really need. You play a single copy of Dragonfly. We're just playing this card for the level because it's not a tuner monster, and sometimes you do need it for your combos. And finally, a single copy of Trident Launcher. I feel like one Trident Launcher is all you really need in the deck, because if this card is link summon, you can special summon 3 TG monsters, 1 from your hand, 1 from your deck, and 1 from your grave in defense position to zones this card points to. Also, you can't special summon monsters the rest of the turn except TGs, which is not that big of a deal, and it's just really good overall in the deck. deck. It also has a really cool ability that your opponent cannot target TG Synchro monsters this card points to, with card effects, which gives you a little bit more protection. So, that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This deck is super fun to be able to play. I absolutely love playing with TGs because it's just really cool, especially now that we have Glaive Blaster and all the new support cards. Rocket Salamander just changed the entire way the deck plays, and I can't wait to get Bonfire so we can finally search out this card, which is just going to take the deck to a whole nother level. So, that's going to do it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell on there so you can come part of our notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.